What's good, people? I just want to take a quick second to tell you about our sponsor, Trilogy. Trilogy is an independent employees benefit consulting firm. They specialize in custom benefit solutions for employers and do not believe that one size fits all. They are passionate about helping employers create benefit packages that attract and retain top talent in their field. They believe education is key to employers and employees understanding and getting the most out of their employee benefits. You must check out Trilogy if this is a service that you need. Now let's jump into the episode. Welcome to the GuthrieAmerica podcast. We sit down with the amazing people who do life in our community and people who once did, because we believe every story should be told. I'm your host, Heady Coleman. Today I'm sitting down with Eric Coleman. Before we jump in this conversation with Eric, will you please go ahead and subscribe to the podcast and leave a review? It would mean the world to me if you did that. Also, you can go like us and follow us on Instagram and Facebook, GuthrieAmerica. And also, when the episode comes out, when you're listening to it right now, go ahead and share it if you would, please. Share it with your friends and family. Let them hear the story of Eric Coleman and how he grew up in the wonderful, fabulous GuthrieAmerica. Eric, how you doing today, man?
Awesome.
It is good to have you on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no, it's I think Eric may be the first person that I've had on the show that does not live in Guthrie currently. I just recently decided that I wanted to do people who also was raised and from Guthrie, and so I think you're the first person. So I appreciate that. Tell folks a little bit about who you are, what you're up to right now.
Well, like you said, I grew up in Guthrie, the last of 13 children. Me and my twin sister, Erica, we rounded it out. But I am a father of 5 living in Nashville, suburb of Murfreesboro, Tennessee, enjoying life and having fun.
All right, so how many children?
5.
5. Now, were you trying to get to 13?
No, I told my father he will keep that trophy forever.
So tell us, what was it like growing up with 12 siblings?
Fun. A lot of football games, track meets, a lot of BTU services, a lot of church services, a lot of loud homes and just fun. You know, we were always had something going on, so it was never a dull moment around our house, and it was a lot of love, and I have many, many fond memories.
So when you have 12 siblings, like the friend pool is probably so deep. Like tell me a little bit about what it was like growing up with 12 siblings and then having all those friends. Because I mean, I know where you lived at. I'm your nephew, but the house size plus 12 siblings plus friends, what was that like? Like how often was the house jam packed?
Well, you know, as many of us that lived in the house, amazingly, we always had people living with us. So, my mother, she loved to help people, and so we always had to share our space. But it was I always think of the Sanford and Son little promo: same room, same bed, same underwear.
Okay,
that was us.
Yeah.
So we shared a lot of clothes. So you know, but it was always fun because we always traveled around the neighborhood as a pack. And so, you know, it was, you know, us playing football together on the brick streets and always eating Brahms on a Friday night. So it was fun.
Now, we're talking about, if you're from Guthrie, we're talking about on the corner of Vilas and 3rd Street.
Yep.
Is where the house was that you grew up in. Now, you mentioned the whole football on the brick streets. Kids don't play football in the streets anymore, and I don't know what that's about, but they just don't do it. Why do you think that is?
Blame it on Nintendo, Xbox, PlayStation 9. But you're right. You know, you don't see that anymore. You don't see kids playing football in the streets, but we have plenty of banged up knees.
Oh, my goodness.
Scraped up elbows. Yeah. We're almost tackling each other out there.
No, well, you know, we did tackle each other in the yard. But Grandpa did not want us in the yard because the grass that was supposedly he wanted to grow.
Yes.
I just don't remember the grass, but he never wanted us to play football in the street. I mean, in the grass. So
That's true.
we played in the street, and yes, sometimes people got tackled. Now we also raced.
Yeah.
Like on that same brick street, there was a lot of races.
Races.
Talk to us about like the races. Are we also boxed on the side of the house?
Yes, we did
here in GuthrieAmerica. Talk to me about some of those experiences for you.
Oh man, those were fun because you got to prove how tough you were, and so it was the Colemans against the other kids in the neighborhood, and so my mom. I don't know where she got the idea, but one Christmas she bought some boxing gloves. It was a good idea to start out with, but man, we would start out with this team against this team, and before you know it, somebody would be like, "Oh no, and that's not fair. You can't hit me that hard."
Yeah.
And so we go rolling down the weeds, but we would always break it up. But it was fun because that's where we built our friendships.
Mm-hmm.
The people we hung out with then, we're friends with now. Every time I come back to Guthrie, I go visit my friends, and so they're like family.
Yeah. No, that's so true. Okay, so tell me about growing up in Guthrie as far as school goes. Like, what was your experience like? And kind of start with elementary, then maybe transition to middle school, then high school, and then we'll talk from there.
Oh man, I mean, I remember all of my teachers. All of my teachers were like my second mother.
Who's your first grade teacher?
Mrs. Harris. She was
second grade.
Second grade. I see her face, and I don't want to say her name wrong. Third grade was Mrs. Lewis at that time. Fourth grade, Mr. Anderson. Fifth grade, Mrs. Andrews. Sixth grade, Mrs. Lilly. And then, of course, junior high just spreads all over the place.
Yeah, if you can remember junior high, you're really good.
Mrs. Morrow, she was one of my teachers in junior high. And Mrs. Tarter.
Now, second grade was Miss Mitchell?
My second grade, she had the room in the annex room. It wasn't attached to the main building.
Oh. Yeah, I don't remember.
But it was funny. I cried. I cried at the end of every school year because I didn't want to leave my teachers.
Oh my goodness.
I would cry every year. And they would be like, "Eric, it's gonna be okay. You can come back and visit me." I don't want to leave you.
Now, so elementary, like, do you feel like you stayed the same kid from elementary to middle school, or what were some things that maybe changed about you from going from elementary to? And here now they do neighborhood schools. When you were in school, you didn't do neighborhood schools, meaning like one school would have pre-K up to, fourth grade? So you stay in one school for that entire time where you went to Banner, Cotterill.
Oh, wow.
Fogarty.
That would be different.
Favor.
Mm-hmm.
And so now everybody's in one school from 0 to fourth grade. But talk to us about elementary, like you transition from that to middle school, or here we call it junior high.
Like I said, all of my teachers, they were really pivotal in shaping me, because I can remember like comments like Mrs. Harris. She would, sometimes I didn't have the dime for the little chocolate milk, and she would bring me into the little closet in the back of the room, and she'd say, "Here, Eric, here's your dime." And so when I pass it out, you can get you milk. And then I remember Mrs. Lilly, because she always would encourage us to be respectful to adults. So she would always, when you walk into her room, she would stop you. "What do you say, Eric?" "Good morning, Mrs. Lilly." "Okay, you can go sit down." I mean, so I remember all those things. Yeah. And Mrs. Love, she always would push me to go into the accelerated class, and I was a knucklehead, and I would cry my way out of it. "I don't want to leave you." And she's like, "You need to be in the accelerated class." "But I don't want to leave you." I just remember all those things. So they pushed us.
Which grade? Who was Miss Lilly?
Mrs. Lilly taught in 6th grade at Favor.
Okay.
Yep.
Miss Lilly, I don't remember her.
Yep.
Miss Lilly. So Favor, we know the history behind Favor. It once was the black high school. Is that the correct way to say it? It was the black high school, and then eventually, they integrated schools, and then Favor became. Was it just 6th grade at Favor?
When I was, yep.
Yep,
just 6th grade.
Just 6th grade. So then out of 6th grade, do you remember having to go from 6th grade to junior high?
Oh,
like,
yes.
Was that a big experience for you? Like, I felt like it was such a scary thing to go from sixth grade to the junior high.
That's true. Going to multiple classes.
Yeah.
You were kind of excited on one hand, but you were like, "What is this?" Going from a class. But it was good because you were exposed to different teachers and different teaching styles, so they would all challenge you in different ways. But I remember it being a transition because you were used to just sticking with that one teacher, and like I said, I was a little mama's boy. I just attached to him, and I'm sure they were like,
"Please go,
back up, son.
Please go." So when you got to junior high, did you find a pivotal moment in your life, like that, becoming a teenager? Was there an experience that you remember here in GuthrieAmerica?
That's a good question because I do have pivotal experiences. I remember when I tried to play basketball, never good at it. And I remember Coach Young, he would just look at me at practice, and he like, "Coleman, I know you trying." And I remember he told me one time, he asked me a question about practice, and I gave him the whole cliche answer, practice makes perfect. And he looked at me, he said, "No, Eric." He said, "Perfect practice makes perfect." He said, "I need you to practice like you want to play in the game." So that stuck with me.
Oh, wow.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. That's really good. Who's your principal when you were in junior high?
Mr. Quinn is who I remember. So he's the one that, Coleman, get him office. So yeah, I had to visit Mr. Quinn a few times, and back then we had paddles.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, you was getting swats if you was going to the office back then.
Yes, but he was good because he always, when I just remember him when he would get you in his office, he would talk to you like you were his son.
Yeah.
He'd be like, "Eric, now come on, man." He would always encourage you. It wasn't like a principal relationship.
No, he was super cool, but had a fatherly kind of approach.
Yes, he did.
To being a principal. Yeah, I remember that about him. Super cool. Now, did you play football in junior high?
Yes.
Did you play 7th and 8th grade?
Yes.
Did you play football just because your brothers played, or did you really?
Yes.
Yes,
I hated football.
I know.
I hated every moment of it. But they all played it, and all my friends were playing. So I just grit my teeth and bear it. And I got no game. So after the game, I'd have to rub my jersey against the grass.
Oh, my goodness. Now, what I do know, and we'll talk a little bit more about this, is when did you start running track?
I ran track. Man, I think I ran track every year.
Oh, really? You started in
Junior
6th grade, or was it junior high?
No, I think I ran track in junior high also.
Okay. No, I'm saying, there was no track in 6th grade, though.
No, not
Okay.
6th grade. Starting in 7th grade.
7th grade, you started running track.
Mm-hmm.
And that was probably, too, because of your brother's influences on you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because all of them ran track as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you go through 7th and 8th grade, junior. During that time, was there any cool things going on that you remember that you connected to Guthrie, like downtown or anything like that?
Oh yeah, we had. I remember when they started, remodeling a lot of downtown, and they had the Victor Mall.
Yeah,
that was a huge deal.
Was that junior high for you or high school?
That had to have been junior high.
Yeah,
because that was it was already there in high school, I think.
Okay.
And so that was really cool. And then one of our close friends, his dad was the postmaster, so that kind of helped us create a camaraderie. And then our friend's
Who's
dad,
that, David?
Bradford.
Yeah.
And then a friend of ours, one of the kids in our high school class, his dad owned a little shoe store, athletic shoe store right there across from the post office.
Oh,
Nelson's. And so we hung out. You had the Lily's drugstore. I think it was called Lily's.
Yep.
And we would go get our cherry limeade there.
Cherry limeades from Lily's was delicious.
Yeah. So we hung out a lot. And then my brother had a job at the Guthrie Daily Leader. And so we called him the inserter.
Like several of them did. Didn't Anthony? Like several people had jobs there.
Michael was the main one.
He was the guy.
He started it.
He was the guy, yeah. And then there were several others that worked there as well. Now, talking about making that transition from 6th grade to junior high being a big deal, what was that transition like from junior high to high school? Do you remember? Like, was that a scary moment?
I mean, high school for me, it was a lot of sports. I mean, we were really into sports, right? So, I remember a lot of basketball games. Of course, my thing was track.
Yeah.
So that's what I was best at. So we were always, running track, me and most of my friends. I quit playing football, I think, after my freshman year. I may have played my sophomore year, but after that I stuck with track. But again,
You didn't play football your senior year for a little bit? No?
because I had a knee.
Okay.
I had a knee injury. And so, but again, we had really cool teachers. You know, I can remember, a lot of experiences with our teachers.
What's some teachers that stand out to you? And why?
Well, Mrs. Mrs. Head, she had to get on me a lot because
I just saw her yesterday.
she was our mom at school too. So she taught us a lot outside of just school.
Yeah.
You know, she would pull us aside. What are you doing? You know, how you spending your time? How you doing in this and that? And so she kept up with us. And so, and then my art teacher.
Yep.
So we have
Mary Beth
Gilliland. And so she goes
to church with us.
Oh, that's right. She does. Uh-huh. And so I still have some of my artwork from high school that she helped me with. I've kept it all these years.
So I don't know if you know. So Nia, our youngest, is an artist, and she draws and stuff. And she was really trying to get Nia to really catch the bug and things like that. Nia still draws, but I don't think she's caught it like I'm hoping she does as well. Like as far as being an artist, but she's
and she's still teaching art.
No, she was just bringing stuff from her house.
Oh,
like,
really?
To Nia and like dropping it off on the porch and just really trying to get Nia to catch that bug for the artistic skill that I think Mary sees that as well in her. And so, but yeah, Mary's so sweet too.
Yeah, I mean, we had awesome teachers growing up.
What about Miss Green?
Mrs. Green, yep. I don't know if I had her as my teacher, but she was.
But yeah, she was still though.
She was always
Miss Allen.
Mrs. Allen, yeah.
Miss Allen passed away.
And Mrs. Pfeiffer, I can still remember Mrs. Pfeiffer. She taught English, and I remember when I graduated, she wrote on my my last test. She said, "Eric, I know whatever you do, you're gonna be great at it. Thank you." See, I remember stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah. She didn't write that on mine, but okay. She did not write that. Miss Pfeiffer, if you listen to this, I'm still wondering why you didn't write that on mine. I think she still lives around here. Crescent, maybe. I'm not for sure, but I think she does. I may be wrong. If you're listening, leave a comment or something. Message me, text me, tell me if she still lives here. So, high school track. Now, you were pretty scholarly. Like, what was that like for you? I remember, like, you would take calculus and things like that. And also, I remember watching you get ready to graduate high school. I thought it was pretty impressive how you knew where you wanted to go to school. You knew you wanted to go to OU. Mm-hmm. You did everything you needed to do in order to transition to go to college. But what was it like? Like, did you see that Guthrie really provided you what you needed for the most part while you were in high school to make that transition?
Yeah. A lot of my teachers were very supportive. Mrs. Ireton, my calculus teacher, she prepared me. She said, "Eric, you're going to be ready. You're going to ace that calculus class at OU," because she prepared me for it. And so I would come back after my first semester, "Mrs. Pfeiffer, look, I made this grade." Now, once I got to calculus 3 and 4, triple integrals, I don't know who invented that stuff, but they should be put in prison.
The question is, have you used any of that since you left?
Absolutely not. I don't know who uses triple integrals. If you use those, call in, because I want to know what you do.
You want to know that job, whatever that job is? Yeah. So let's just talk about this real quick. We know that you ran track. We know Coach Carter. We just lost a great man, a legend in our community.
Yes.
What did Coach Carter mean to you as a young man growing up running track?
Man, don't make me cry. Coach Carter was such an instrumental person in my life and my brother's life, because I remember he was always there, regardless of which one of us was running track for him or attending his church. He was always there, encouraging us, pushing us. And I was telling you, and we were messaging each other, and I was talking about how when we would get out of track practice, we would all wait because we didn't want to walk all the way across town. So he was the one that he had his route, dropping all of us off to our houses after track meets at midnight, getting back to Guthrie. And then, of course, we went to summer camps, and his church was instrumental in helping us get to, Camp Hudgens, Falls Creek. And so he and his wife, they're like family to us.
Yeah, yeah. Noble Avenue.
Yes.
You remember RAs?
RAs.
And we would go over there on Wednesdays and
Yep.
we'd play tackle the man football as soon as church was out.
Yep.
It would be so
It would be
many of
dark.
us.
It would be dark, and we'd be playing football in that little field there.
Yeah, the field. Yeah, it would be pitch dark out there playing football.
Did you ever get to go to camp with us?
I never went to camp.
You were a little bit younger.
I was a little bit younger, and I did not want to go to camp. I still don't want to go to camp.
Camp was fun. That's where we learned
Man,
partially how to swim.
No, everybody loves Falls Creek, but yeah, I remember you all would go all the time, and like leaving for a week. I don't think I could have done that back then. No way in the world. But also the Dreesens.
Yes.
Mr. Dreesen would come with
Yes.
the pickup truck,
Yes.
load everybody up,
Yes.
go over to Noble Avenue for Wednesday nights. Was really cool times, and Dan Dreesen is now, he moved back to Guthrie, so he's here and kind of watching his kids grow up is really cool, and he's still
Wow.
faithful.
That's cool.
To the church. So not Noble Avenue, he goes to a different church, but still faithful to the church, and so it's cool to see that. But yeah, Coach Charter used to pick people up, take them home. Did he make like he would load up kids, take some home, and then come back and get more kids?
Well, I just remember he had a Jeep Cherokee.
Yep, Jeep Cherokee, white, wasn't it?
I think it was.
Yeah, I think it was.
I just remember it was always full.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us did not have rides home. And so some of us, we didn't have cars in high school. And so it was always full. I know he would make his round. And normally I think I was the last drop-off point because I was closest to him going to his house. And so, but yeah, he had a route.
Yeah, he had a route.
He had a route for sure.
Now you didn't run cross country, but I don't remember. Did he used to ride the bike as we had to run distance? Or was that later?
He the only time I ran cross country I think was my senior year because he wanted me to improve my quarter time.
Okay.
And I wasn't playing football, so he was like, "You can run cross country."
Yeah.
And I had no idea what I was getting myself into, but
Did you do the whole season?
I think I made it through, but it was running out on those hills out north of the school when it's like 35 degrees and it's raining and the wind is blowing. I'm like, why am I doing this again? Why am I, Coach Charter? How did you convince me to do this?
But yeah, did he have the bike then? Did he ride alongside y'all? And
I don't remember the bike.
yeah, so at some point, and that's what I'm saying. I don't remember him having a bike when I was in school, but I didn't run cross country. He now has been known for riding his bike. While the students were running, he would go get on the bike and kind of get out there on the streets with them and go
cool.
back and forth and it was stuff like that made him the special man that he was, doing those kind of things, and if he went on his bike, he was in his car behind him, and like Zell, my son, has a friend who's a cross country kid, and just hearing about him and his relationship with Coach Charter, to know that he's still doing it after. How long ago did you graduate?
I graduated in 89.
89. So, you're talking.
He's still doing it. I mean, that's amazing.
Yeah.
See, I mean, people like him, they're my heroes.
Yeah.
That are in the community, impacting children. I mean, you think about that, 89, 99, 2009. I mean, he's been impacting all these.
For almost 40 years. Well, he was there before.
Yeah, I mean, he impacted my older brothers. So, I mean, just think about that. I'm like, Lord Jesus, when I was reading all the comments, I'm like, help me be as impactful as him in my community, because that is awesome.
Yeah, the impact of the amount of students, like people are flying in. Eric, you flew in from Tennessee to come and be a part of this funeral. I know Stefan's coming.
Stefan's coming from Carolina.
Like Lennon's coming in. People from all over are coming back because of the impact that the Coach Charter made. And man, yeah, I'm with you though. Like that's the kind of impact I would want to make. On people, and knowing that people are flying out from all over the place to come back to celebrate you. So, what other events? Talking about just events in your lifetime here in Guthrie, America. What's some other events that stand out to you?
Oh man, I mean, we always enjoy 89ers. I remember going to get my little 89ers outfit because you had to look good.
You had to look good.
You had to look good.
You had to be fly.
You had to be fly, and so, but just. just growing up in a community like that, you don't realize how much you cherish it until you look back in the rearview mirror. You're like, man, that was so fun. That's what I was just telling you. I got to bring my children here for a celebration. So they, the carnival thing, you've taken them to all the big theme parks, but it's nothing like, going back and doing it the way you did it as a kid. So they can see that, these are the things that help shape your dad. Meet people like Coach Tarter, people in the community. They've met Mrs. Love, my third grade teacher. I took them to meet her, so they can see, go back and honor people who've poured into you. Don't just go off somewhere and be successful or whatever, and forget about the people who helped you. You go back and thank them, shake their hands, tell them how much they meant to you. So that's very important.
Yeah. 89ers. What other event was there that stood out?
Well, I mean, like I said, my dad's a pastor, so we had many of,
church events.
3 p.m. musicals on a Sunday where we would render an A and B selection. But we were.
But those were pivotal moments, right?
Yes.
Yeah, those events made an impact on you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. That's good. 89ers though, but so church events, Wednesday nights. I mean, later in life, like we're talking about the Wednesday nights at Nova Avenue. Like we started having Wednesday nights at New Life too. That would have a really good crew.
Yep.
Of students and stuff too. So. Talk to us about the temple. Like, once you moved, because once you got to high school, you moved over closer to the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And then, do you remember the hangouts that would occur over by the temple?
Oh yeah, I mean the church being right next to the house, it kind of created a rallying point. I mean, so the midweek service, man, we had at least 40, 50 kids in there.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a big service for such a small town like that.
Yeah.
And so, Dad, he kept it interesting. And then, we would get out of service and we could not resist the big yard over at the temple. You had to go over there and play a little football.
Play football.
Yeah.
Just hang out. People would come wash their cars because, you had the convenience store over there and the car wash.
Yes.
And, people coming and hanging out. And those are some of the times that I remember most too, as far as, man, it would be so many.
Oh, yeah.
So many of us, young and old.
Mm-hmm.
Not just it wasn't just young people hanging out over there, but you had young and old, which was really cool.
Even on the weekends, I mean, once we moved over here, this was kind of like a stopping point for a lot of our friends. Yep. So they would meet Mom and Dad. And Mom give them a sermon.
Yeah.
And,
on the porch. Now, do you remember Miss Moreland?
Oh, yeah.
Am I saying her name right, Miss Moreland?
We said Miss Moreland.
Miss Moreland.
Yeah.
Do you know how you – because I was asking somebody, an older person from Guthrie the other day, if they knew who she was. But I couldn't remember if I was saying her name right or how you spell it.
Yeah, that's Mrs. Moreland.
Okay.
Yep, that's how you say it.
And she lived on the west side, right? Because that's
yes.
We had to go get her whenever it would flood, and she'd come stay at the house with us.
Yes.
But, man, did she have kids or anything around here?
She had some children that would come to town, I think, periodically. I don't remember them. We were younger, and so – She was very instrumental in our lives. She come and give us Bible lessons on Fridays.
Now another thing that doesn't happen anymore that often are floods. Do you remember the flood days?
Oh yes. It doesn't flood here anymore? That's good.
Yeah, no. It may flood, but it's every blue moon.
Okay.
Like it's very. It doesn't happen very often. I think they had cleared out the creek or something. Whatever was building it up.
Okay.
They kind of cleared that
Changed
out and
okay.
got that fixed. So floods don't happen anymore. Then also they've now structured and built the bridge. I think I'm saying this right. If I'm saying it wrong, somebody can let me know. But they did the bridge in such a way that it's higher, and so they raised the elevation of the street.
We called it the viaduct.
Viaduct, yeah. At that time,
we were saying it wrong, but we. Until I looked it up in the dictionary, it's not a dock, but that's what we call it, the viaduct.
Now the rumor is that Grandpa proposed to Grandma on that bridge. Is that
I hadn't heard that one.
My mom in the background saying,
he proposed to her on the viaduct. Wow,
you didn't know that?
I did not know that.
Yeah. So when they tore it down, I think Grandpa got emotional. He got a little emotional behind that. So.
I guess so. I guess I get emotional too.
Yeah, they took a place where I proposed to to my honey poo, but yeah, no, so
That's a cool story.
that's a really cool story. Now, when you come to Guthrie now, like what are some changes that you see?
Oh man, I mean it's totally different now. We didn't have a McDonald's until I got in high school. So now you got McDonald's and you got Burger Kings and everything here. So it's a lot different.
Yeah.
But I mean, I still feel that same community here, though. I still, like I said, when I visit friends, oh, where's so and so? Oh, they're here. There's some. A lot of them still live here, which is kind of cool. I can go see them, and so, but yeah, I mean, a lot has changed. I haven't been in the Victor Mall. Is it still a mall?
No, it's nothing at the moment.
Okay.
There's nothing happening in the Victor Mall right now. So, but there are some buildings down there. I'm sure that like if you went through downtown, you'll see you'll see a lot of those kind of changes. Like Daylight Donuts.
Oh yeah.
So like Daylight Donuts is no longer there, but that's where everybody was getting their donuts back in the day. Now we have this place called Missy's. Have you been to Missy's?
It's a donut shop?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, you need to go
Is it
to
good?
Missy's. Yeah, that might give me a reason.
I like
not
a
to
good
eat
cake donut with some coffee.
that might give me a reason to get some carbs, just some sugar. Yeah, no, you got to go to Missy's. And then let me see now. You're a coffee guy?
Yeah.
So have you been to Hoboken yet? Mm-mm. So Hoboken is a coffee shop here that like people come from all over. Hoboken Coffee. So the people who own it named it after Hoboken, New Jersey. I think they either went there or something like that.
Okay.
And so I think that's the story. I may be making that up, but I think that's the story. And then also, have you been to Rick's? You haven't been to Rick's for chocolate?
Mm-mm. Where's that? Downtown?
Yeah, downtown Guthrie. So Rick's is also a coffee shop, but also known for their chocolate. Like I want to say the third. Now, it's not big when I say this. Don't think it's something gigantic, but like the third biggest coffee making place in Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but it's in the back of a coffee shop. But I guess when you think about that, there's just not that many places making chocolate. And they're one of the few, and so they get a lot of orders and things like that from. But so those are three places that you definitely probably should check out while you rolling around.
I definitely need to do that.
GuthrieAmerica this week while you're in town. So do that. Now let's talk about you, so people can kind of get to know where you're at right now. Right, you leave out of Guthrie, you go to OU, you graduate from OU with what kind of degree, and why did you pick that degree?
I picked industrial engineering because they said it was a people engineer. They said you don't have to necessarily stick with equipment or petroleum engineering. You work with equipment and people and processes. And for some reason that just it triggered something with me, and I love it. I love it because that's exactly what it is. You get to design systems I work in manufacturing, so I get to design processes and how we're going to arrange the equipment and how we're going to train people to use it and things like that. So it really is a people engineer. People are a big part of what I do.
For example, give us for an example. You've worked in what kind of industries and what?
I started out in automotive.
Okay.
Built in vehicles, working with Ford, Chrysler, GM, and then I switched over to a company making your Sharpie markers. Mm-hmm. So we made millions and millions of Sharpie markers every year, and so now I work for a company. We make automated equipment, so robotics, grippers, and actuators, and power clamps and things like that. So whenever you see robotic automation, something being picked up, we make that piece that actually picks something up, suction cups and things we call end effectors on the end of a robot. So it's a pretty cool company. It's totally different than what I was doing before making markers, but it's still engineering.
Yeah. Well, you went from cars to Sharpies to robotic arms, know.
Right. And a little oil and gas in between.
A little bit of oil and gas in there somewhere. No, that kind of shows you how diversified that particular role allows you to be in the work that you do, which is super cool. And I always like hearing talking to you about your job when we get a chance to talk about it, because like I remember you talking to me about the Toyota way. Mm-hmm. Is that like a training that you got to talk about walking through process, or was it more leadership?
It's both, actually. It's built on respect for people. So whenever you build a system or a process or a factory, people are your greatest asset. You can build robots and you can do all that, but if your people aren't the central part of what you're doing, it can fail really quickly. So a lot of what the Toyota way is built around is people. The man who started it in Japan, one of the things that motivated him to do it was his mother and grandmother were working, building like these fabric pieces, like clothing and things like that. And he was so wanting to help them because he saw how hard they were working to do it, and he wanted to come up with more efficient and safe and easier ways for them to make it. So the very foundation of it was helping people, and that's why he started it. And so I still use it. I still have all my Toyota Way books because the principles, they always work.
Yeah. What's been some of the how can I say this? Like some things that have been your best memories about working in the industry that you're working now up until this point?
I mean, I think part of it is just being able to travel and work with different people. A big part of what I do now is like, how can we transform our operation from one level to the next? And so a big part of that is people transformation. So helping people go from an assembly level tech 1 person to a tech 2, and helping them progress and helping them expand, what they can do in their skill set so they can, be a better blessing to their family and so forth. And so a big part of it is helping us transform our operations. And so a big part of that is helping people transform. So that's the part I get a big kick out of it, is seeing people just develop, and it helps our operation develop. And so it's good for everybody.
Yeah.
So it's good for our industry. It's good for our country when people are constantly, learning new skills and developing themselves.
Now knowing that you can tell us some places that your job's taking you.
Oh, I've worked in Alaska. I've worked in Japan. I've worked in Mexico. Those are the main places.
What's been which place was your favorite?
Oh, wow. They're all favorites of mine. I knew I didn't want to work in Alaska for a long time because I was there just for the summer, and they described the winter to me, and I was like, I'm good. I'm good.
I'm out. Yeah, don't even offer. Don't even make the offer.
But the people were awesome.
Yeah.
During the summer.
It's beautiful out there, right?
Oh man, we could play basketball till midnight because the it's still bright outside. But and then Japan, I loved it because the people there, they really teach you how to use technology and help it advance you. And I like Mexico because the people there were just so good to work with, in terms of helping you learn the language. They encouraged me, hey, Eric, take this class so you can learn Spanish. And so they would push me to learn Spanish while I was there. But just hardworking people. So I like different aspects of each one.
Yeah.
Because I learn from each one. So I enjoyed them all.
So in your journeys of going different places to work, you ended up in Tennessee, and you talked about being married, 5 children. Talk to us about Tennessee and some of the milestones that happened for you in Tennessee.
Yeah, I moved to Tennessee with my brother Tim and his pastor at the time, because they were into writing Christian music, which that's one of my biggest loves, is write worship music. And so they started there and built a church. And so I remember asking Tim, how can I get to Tennessee? Because I was an engineer in Chickasha, Oklahoma at the time. And so I found out that our company had a position open in a small town, Pulaski, Tennessee. And so I applied for it. I got it. And it wasn't a few weeks later, my car and my few belongings were in a semi, and I moved to Tennessee. And so I started a band there. I call it the Philadelphians. You remember the Philadelphians.
Yeah,
You're friends with some of the members of that band. And so but that was the thing that attracted me. That was the music and the worship. Nashville, Music City, USA. And so I've done music there, released a lot of music, been on worship teams, and developed a lot of fun relationships there. Of course, met my wife there, my blessing, Dion, and had our 5 children. And so, I've got one in college now, and then 4 little ones that keep me busy, keep me young. And so it's been fun. I love Tennessee.
What's it like being a father? Like, tell us some things that you appreciate most about being a dad.
Oh man, I mean, being a father teaches you so much. So just learning how to be a giving person. If you're selfish, having a lot of kids, that's gonna pull it out of you.
Yeah.
Because they always, hey, what are we gonna do today? My daughter was asking me before I left town. So when you get back in town, what are we gonna do? Fun. I'm a daddy's girl. I'm like, you just milking it. And
Yeah.
so they keep me busy. And so my family is obviously a big part. And then serving in my church, serving in my community, Boys and Girls Club, helping feed the homeless, downtown Nashville, Murfreesboro. Toys for Tots is a big thing we do there. So every Christmas it's a huge operation. But just serving in the community, getting to know people, making sure it's a giving thing, and then teaching it to your children, of course.
Yeah.
So whenever I do a lot of that, I take my children with me so that they can learn to be giving. God has blessed you, so you bless other people. So
That's awesome. And of course you gotta talk about your wife. Maybe tell, like, did you chase her? She chased you? Like, how did that happen? And just tell us about some highlights of being married.
man, she hounded me until I said yes. That is not true. No, Dion, she attended the church when I first got there, and so of course I went through my brother Tim. I said, hey, would you ask that young lady, would she be interested in going on a date? Because I wasn't brave enough to do it. Bada, bada, bada. And so he asked her, and he came back, and I said, so what did she say? And he said, Eric, the first thing she asked me was, what is his vision? I said, I love her. Let's do it. She's my kind of girl. But yeah, we got married about a year later. And she's been a mighty, mighty blessing to me. She loves children. I mean, she loves the Lord, and she loves just being part of the community. She's very involved in the area that we live in. Of course, with the children, she knows a lot of people in the community and things like that. She started a business there. She got a home decor shop there, so she's heavily involved in the community too.
That's cool. Well, we do this thing, hashtag Choose Guthrie here. Whenever you hear hashtag Choose Guthrie, what comes to mind?
I think about family. I think about community. I think about godly examples. Mm-hmm. Most of the examples we had, there were people who, encouraged us to walk with God, whatever we do. And then, just be good people. I feel like some of the basics have been lost today. Just be a giving person, be a good person, speak to people, look them in the eyes when you talk to them and tell them thank you. A lot of those things that were just, we took it for granted.
Yeah.
But when you don't have it, it jumps out at you. And so that's what I think about, because that's what was put in us. Our parents, they put that in us. And the other thing I'll say is our parents put in us, having your identity in Christ and not in what you do, and not in things. And so that's always helped me, regardless of what I've done in life. I've always seen myself, number one, as a child of God. And so that has kept me anchored, regardless if something didn't work out the way I wanted it to. Well, I still know who I am. So, I've got that as my foundation. So that's what I really appreciate, all the things that they put in us. So awesome. That's what it means.
Awesome. Well, GuthrieAmerica, thank you for listening in for another on another GuthrieAmerica story. Eric, thank you for stopping by and being willing to share your story while you were in town. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hitting that play button for another episode of the GuthrieAmerica podcast. See ya.